Okay, what I'm going to do today is look at rebuilding these front forks on this thing. I will cut out a large portion of this that's just me running a wrench and swearing. So I'll cut that way down. I'll give you a little bit of a look at what it's like to do it. I'm going to first have to take off the headlight and this headlight bucket and just put those aside so I don't drop them and break them while I'm doing it. Then I'll take off the front wheel and I'll take off these forks and rebuild them. Hopefully when I put it back I'll have the new front brakes in. I can put new brakes on. I'll also put the new tire on the front. That's assuming I get the tube that I've got on order. Before I start, I'd like to thank my YouTube subscriber for this awesome little seat. Works great. Way better than my Lowe's bucket. So incidentally, there's only one person I know who watches any of my videos who even knows what a Lowe's bucket is, or who would be thoughtful enough to send me that seat. So I do appreciate it. So thank you very much, Carter. I can still use the Lowe's bucket so that as a handy little bench, put some piles of tools on. So hopefully you're getting a good enough view here. I don't have an assistant to do the recording, so I have to do this myself. When I put this all back together, I'll do it correctly, so it's buttoned up tight. I suspect I'll have to find a new headlight bulb before I'm done too. So,
as you can see, I'm a really fast worker here. If I could actually work this fast, I would have had this project done a lot quicker. I ended up working for almost 8 hours trying to get one fork off. Then I came back a couple days later and I remounted the front one I took off the second one, rebuilt it, and reinstalled it in about 3.5 hours. So I did learn something from the first time. Here I am disconnecting all the wires in the headlight bucket. I'm going to remove the headlight bucket. I'm going to take off the front tire, disconnect the front brake and the speedometer cable, and take off the front fender. I don't think I need to leave a lot of detail on that. That's all pretty straightforward. The wiring in the headlight bucket is all completely jumbled up and stuff, so I'm going to have to go through all that. That'll be, as soon as I get the tire back on and everything, that'll be the next major project I'm working on, is get the electric straightened out. The fender just comes off with a couple bolts. The front tire is fairly straightforward. I may try to video putting the brakes in the front tire and changing that tire so you can see that, but that'll be a separate video. So I'm just going to speed through this portion of it here. I'm also going to skip most of the hammering I do for 5 or 6 hours trying to get that fork out of there, and I'll just show a little bit of it, but leave all the swearing out. I'm going to show the abbreviated version of removing and replacing the other fork. The first shock was so hard to get out of there that I spent so much time just beating on it. And I spent a fair amount of time on this one too, but I'll kind of cut out most of that and show you the important parts. It went out and back in much easier than the first one, so it's more representative of what you should expect to see. spraying some cleaner and lubricant in there now. Yay, I got it out finally.
So I got that out, cleaned it up. I'm going to clean up this tube that it fits in here. So hopefully it's a little easier to get out of there than the last, or back in there than the last one. I think it will be, because it'll fit up at least a little ways in it without forcing it.
I'm getting the new parts to rebuild that old fork. That's fairly easy. Once you get the parts all cleaned up, you've just got a new oil seal. That's new oil seal, new springs, new rubber boot that goes over there. It's pretty straightforward, not much to it.
Put a little coating oil. This looks like it's real bad, but I sanded it down. That rust is up above where it seals. It doesn't start to seal until down here, and that's really nice. Looks good there. Okay. I'm going to put this thing on. Coating of oil on the thing. Really have to research a little bit what kind of oil to put in the forks. Online it says automatic transmission fluid, and then what I've seen in the manual, it says to put 10W30 oil in it, which I like that better. It's a little thicker than transmission fluid. I think it might work a little better. The hard part is getting this thing started in here without bending the seal over. I got it on there. And once I get it down in, then it's got that in there. I'm going to clean my hands off a little bit because I'm full of oil. Put a little dab in here. Kind of coat that a little bit.
Here I'm seating the oil seal down in there. You have to get it carefully tapped down just deep enough so that the snap ring will hold it in place. You have to be kind of careful tapping it down in there. I'm sure they make a tool that would seat that thing, but I was able to do it with a blunt end drift pin and just kind of gently tapping it down in there. I think I got it down in there good, and I'm pretty sure I didn't damage the thing at all. Then I put on the new springs, the new rubber boot that goes over, and the fork is then ready to be put back onto the bike. So there's not much really to rebuilding on it. The only hard part is just getting the thing out and then getting it put back in. Here I'm setting up my winch straps. That proved out to be the easiest way to pull that fork back up in there. I can get it up close. What I have to do is put some tension on it and then tap it with a block of wood, and it kind of slides up in there. On this side it was loose enough that it fit up in there pretty good. The only problem was it wanted to slide back down, and then the piston wanted to spin in there when I was doing it, so I did have to mess with it a little bit. I'll do that, then I get it pushed up far enough where I can finally get the bolts in there, and then I screw the bolts up tighter using shorter and shorter bolts or more washers to pull it up until it's snug. It's complicated by the fact that it wanted to slide back down, so I had to tighten the pinch bolt on the side a little bit and get that done, but I did get that done. I'm going to fast forward through this because it's pretty straightforward. It's just kind of tedious. As you can see, I am a really fast worker though. Okay, here I'm just finishing up pulling that shock back into position. Again, it's a tedious process, not a big deal. I'll stop when I get that done. The next video I'll show the reinstalling the tire and the fender. I'll put the oil in the forks. I'll probably go ahead and put the brakes in the front end and the and get that done and a new tire on there, and then I'll be kind of back into shape, and I'll be able to start on the wiring after that point. That may be a little while before I get going on that. I've got some other stuff going on, but it was a tedious process. The big part was just getting those forks out of there and then forcing them back up in there. That's a lot of work. It wouldn't be bad at all if the parts were all new and they slid together the way they're supposed to, but they're a little rusty in there and kind of rusted in place, so it took a little bit of work to get them out of there. But I think it's worth it. It looks nicer, and I'm sure it'll drive and ride much better. Thanks for watching.